Okay, so here at Claw, we've analyzed and measured how the best players in the world are connecting to the golf club. In today's video, I'm going to walk you through the 3 key things that every great player does to create this proper connection. So first thing we need to really understand is that when we get the proper connection to the club, we're creating what we call the functional unit, which is when our arms, hands, and club become one unit that functions together to create the proper dynamics of the golf swing. Okay. So first thing what we're going to do, we're going to talk about something that is extremely important in the golf swing, and that's what we call wrist and finger extension. If you've seen any of our other content, we talk about this a lot. By getting the proper wrist and finger extension, what it allows you to do is it allows you to push against the handle properly. What I'm actually going to do here is I'm going to use our swing zone disc. And the reason I'm going to use this disc is that it gives me something flat to push against and really feel this proper extension of my wrist and fingers. What we're going to do here, feeling the lead arm kind of stretch straight out away from your body, you're just going to take this plate, and you can use any plate kind of at home as long as it's just perfectly flush flat. And again, this is just giving us something to push against. And really feel like I'm pushing with my palm and my pads and just kind of sinking those both into this plate here. You can see when I do this, that's giving me that proper wrist extension. When I'm doing this too, one thing to really be conscious of is make sure that all the fingers are sewed together. We talk about this a lot. Imagine if I dropped water, it would just bead off the sides of your hands. Once we get that feeling right there with the proper wrist extension, what we're going to do is we're going to take our fingers and extend them away from the disc. This is really activating kind of the back parts of the hands and the inside parts of the hands. Again, why this is so important is that this is activating the pads, so we're going to be able to actually push against the grip with them. Now, once we feel like we've got that proper wrist and finger extension, I'm going to do the same thing on the other hand. I'm feeling that same sensation where the palm is pushing against the middle of the disc, pads are pushing into the middle of the disc, and fingers are all sewed together. Now from there, just like with the lead hand, I'm getting that proper finger extension to where my pads are pushing against the disc, but my fingers are extended away. Now from there, what we're going to do is we're going to get both wrists into full wrist extension. And notice how when I do this, I'm keeping consistent pressure of my palms pushing together. This is what we call in the golf swing palm pressure. And this is what keeps your elbows together. This is what allows you to keep consistent connection to the handle throughout your entire golf swing, keep the proper grip pressure. I mean, it's just literally the most important thing in golf, okay? And when you look at training aids like the Pro Center and things like that with the ball between the wrists, that's what this is trying to give you an understanding of. It's trying to give you an understanding of that proper palm pressure and keeping those elbows together so that now you can get the proper pivoting action of the fingers away from the palms. And you could even like do golf swings, just trying to keep that plate in there. And you really feel how those elbows are staying together. This is kind of a key secret, and this drill is just the best way. And we have our students do this just to feel that proper palm pressure. Kind of a cool little side note is that this is what motivated our design for our latest training aid, the claw ball. So you can see when we push against the middle of this ball with our palms, it really concentrates that palm pressure. And you feel that same feeling we were feeling with that disc. It's just, this is a little heavier than a disc. But this is a great training aid. These are coming back really soon, so go ahead and get on the wait list. Okay, perfect. So now that we got a better understanding of the importance of the proper wrist and finger extension, let's talk about the number 2 key variable to getting the perfect grip every time. And I'm gonna grab the compact club for this one. And what it is understanding how to get the proper alignment of our V's relative to the handle. When we're grabbing the golf club with the lead and trail hand, we're trying to maintain this wrist and finger extension. But you've done all this work, you've activated all the pressure points, they're ready to be molded onto the grip. It's very important that we don't make the most common mistake that we see, which is going this way, where you lose all that wrist extension, lose all that finger extension, because you're trying to be so concentrated with how you're holding it here. But again, this is not what we're looking for, because this is going to cause this lead arm to bend. We want to keep that proper wrist and finger extension, keep that lead arm nice and straight, nice and locked. The best way to do this too is hold the club straight out away, take that proper wrist and finger extension and then concentrate it against the grip properly. Feel like you're really pushing through the grip. You want to feel like almost if these are like laser beams, they're shooting like wrist and finger extension does, is it concentrates those laser beams from index pad to pinky pad away from your body. And now once we have that, you've seen our thumbprint video. If you haven't, I'll link that down in the show notes. And again, we're doing it up here. Down here, it'll look like this, where our fingers are almost pointing at like a 45-degree angle relative to the grip. Okay, this is what we call kind of a neutral to strong grip, and this is what we recommend for everybody here at Claw. Once you feel like you've got those pads concentrated, you're gonna take your fingertips and you're gonna curl them. And this is kind of the big secret of the claws, is that when you curl your fingertips, what you're doing is you're actually taking the grip and pulling it into your pads. This just creates like the ultimate connection with those pads to the handle of the golf club. So again, down here, fingers pointing at a 45, curl them, boom, perfect. So now that we got the proper connection and proper alignment of that V, you're gonna see that V is gonna be pointing at the anywhere from like the trail ear to the trail shoulder. That'd be a good reference for you. And there we go. That's what that's gonna look like. Really nice position, lead arm nice and straight. Now for the trail hand, we're gonna go through just the same process. Having our proper wrist and finger extension that we got by doing our plate drill, what we're gonna do is we're gonna take that V and align it to where it's matching up with this V. Again, if the fingers of the lead hand were like this, the trail hand, it's gonna be the same way. It's gonna look something like this. Boom, curl, boom, curl. Okay, so see how those V's are lined up perfectly. Again, the most common faults we're seeing when people are doing this is that they're just not getting the V's matching each other. Either the V is this way too much to where this is kind of weaker, or again, too underneath to where the club is like resting in the palm a little bit too much. And this just restricts mobility and just makes it hard for you to get the proper feel. There's a lot of feel in the fingertips. So when you get the proper alignment and get those pads pushing against the handle properly, curl those fingertips. The curl really gets it in the tips of the fingers, okay? But again, same thing with the lead hand. It's curling the handle into your pads. And this is why you see tour players that have like that hook where the index fingers hook down the grip further than the thumb. It's pulling the grip into the thumbprint and into the pads of the hands. Okay, so another really huge secret, and it's just hidden in plain sight. You look at all these tour players, they're all doing it. It's just never talked about. So yeah, lucky for you, we've measured all this. This is what's actually going on. And now you can see this leads really nicely into our number 3 connection point, which is going to be getting the proper connection of trail palm to lead thumb knuckle. And I would say out of everything that we're doing today, I know I keep saying like, oh, this is the most important, this is the most important, but I feel like this might be the most important one. And the reason that is that when we get the proper connection of the trail palm to the lead thumb knuckle, it's creating what we call the swing triangle. We got the lead side of the triangle here, we got the trail hand connecting properly with the side of the handle to create the right side of the triangle, and then now to lock the triangle together, we're just going to take that trail palm, connect it to the lead thumb knuckle. And we're going to go through the steps needed for this. The number 1 step is really out of the way because it's all about getting the proper alignment of that V from trail ear to trail shoulder, matching the lead hand. Now from there, you're going to see when I do this, I'm feeling that proper wrist and finger extension still maintained. Similar to what we were talking about with the lead hand, where we want to keep that wrist and finger extension when we're gripping. Same thing with this, because that's what's going to allow us to really feel like we're pushing against that lead thumb knuckle properly. And that's the big, big key, okay? That's what's going to create and simulate that plate feeling of kind of pushing those palms together. Really important that we get this unification correct. We don't want to be too far down the grip. This is a common fault that we see. And then what this does is kind of gets it in the palm too much. We also don't want to be up here too much to where the trail palm is up here and not connected to the lead thumb knuckle. Remember, this is the lead thumb knuckle right here. It's so important that we get that pressure consistent. And now that we got that wrist and finger extension, it's palm first, got the V's aligned, but the fingers are we use this visual of like almost pulling the fingers like back at you with like a rope as you're sinking that palm into that lead thumb knuckle. This connection is so important because this is where the pivoting action is occurring with the trail hand pivoting around the lead hand. Remember, this is the pivot point. It's almost creating like this post in the golf swing, but what's pivoting around this point is this trail palm. So it's extremely important because the trail hand controls, I would say, 85–90% of the golf swing. So really, really important we get that right. Now that we got the wrist first, now from here, fingers are kind of pulled back. We're just going to curl those fingertips and really feel like we're molding that trail palm against that lead thumb. But again, it's just palm. So the grip pressure shouldn't be that firm at this point, okay? It's the only pressure is really just in kind of the curls, this hook right here, and the thumb print on the lead side of the grip. Really feel like my palm is ahead of my fingers, okay? And that's why you have to apply so much pressure to that point, because when we're gripping the golf club, when we're starting out, we want to feel like our palm has a head start ahead of the fingers. This is what's going to give us the best chance to get the proper fingers back of the palm to start the swing, stay back, and then apply the proper pressure to the side of the handle to create the proper impact position with the proper forward shaft lean. So you always want to kind of feel like that palm is just scooching forward, which is why there should be a lot of pressure on that lead thumb knuckle. But again, pressure is just like this. That's the pressure that we're applying. I mean, from here, you could literally take your fingers off the grip, or you could kind of take your curls away, and you can really feel how, I mean, you're pushing against that grip with like that index pad, and we talked about that in the Tiger video. Just really, that's where a lot of that pressure is being applied, but most of it, again, is that trail palm to lead thumb knuckle. In future videos, we're going to talk about how we can use this functional unit to create the proper dynamics of what the club needs to do. But this feels really locked in here though. I mean, it's one functional unit. I feel like if I do something with my hands against the handle, the club is going to react. And because this functional unit is connected to my body, the body's going to react as well. And we'll get to that kind of in future videos. But again, one thing to really be conscious of is that the grip pressure is not too tight right now. Okay, you can feel like we're pushing with those palms, and we're simulating everything we were just feeling with that plate at the beginning of the video. Okay, so I got this functional unit. Let's hit a ball now. Got my plate here, boom, wrist and finger extension, wrist and finger extension. Got that sensation of those palms pushing together. Now I'm just gonna feel in my golf swing, keeping that consistent palm pressure. And again, that's where trail palm against lead thumb knuckle comes into play. And just feeling the fingers pivoting around the palms. And that's what's going to control the pivoting action of the club head around my body. So that's kind of that hand to handle to face relationship. So boom, a good kind of tip for you when you're gripping the golf club with the lead hand. You want to feel like you're taking your fingers and just pointing them right at the flag. Now from there, when you're taking that lead hand and placing it on the grip with the thumbprint on the top trail side, getting the V aligned properly, feel like you're keeping those fingers and wrists extended away. And again, you could do this, boom, pointing at the flag, right out away from you with the handle just a little more stretched away to keep that lead arm nice and locked. And then same thing here. So fingers are away from the flag now. And then trail palm to lead thumb knuckle, boom. So feel those curls kind of pulling the grip, trying to feel that consistent palm pressure, and fingers just nice and light. I hit it a little fat. Let's do one more. Just push with those palms a little bit more to the finish, and we should be good. Much better. Yeah. So on that one, I felt like I really pushed through it a lot better, feeling those palms pushing all the way to the finish, feeling that plate like in between my palms. I'm feeling really good about just this process that you guys are going to be going through to get the proper connection to the grip every single time. Thanks for watching, everybody. Go join our Discord. Go get on the wait list for the claw ball. I'm really excited to just keep creating more content for you guys. I hope you're enjoying it all. If you're new here, go and subscribe, throw a like on the video, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks.